Blizzard Nation? Welcome back to Strictly Blizzness, episode 200 and lost it. 212. I was reading the comments instead of the episode number. Presented by
space.
212, presented by Edge VR Arcade, Creative Edge Productions, and our friends at Cousin Subs, where you can get free curds with the purchase of a 7.5-inch sub or sub in the bowl when you use promo code
Blizz Curds.
Nailed it. We are remote today, as Kathy is in a different state, not at her happy place, but in the same state, doing family stuff. It's kind of
weird,
which is awesome.
It's kind of weird being here and not being at Disney.
Probably only weird for you, but yeah.
Probably only weird for me. But I'm at the beach, so I'm in Clearwater today. But yeah, it's kind of surreal for me. I almost took a segue up to Orlando, but
nice.
Anyway.
Awesome. Well, we have some catching up to do from some stuff we missed last episode. Strictly may become scriptly. See what I did there? At least so we have bullet points. But speaking of Florida, we wanted to congratulate and call out our Disney trip winner, James Jackson, and he is in the process of planning that trip with our friends from Fan Cave, Nate and crew. I think they have a date range. I think he's got identified who's going with them. So he is bringing wife, son-in-law. We'll see if he watches Strictly, and a new youngin', and they are very excited. So congratulations on that. Really cool for Kathy and I get to do that on Star Wars night, which that was the comments that Star Wars night was awesome. I agree. Without tipping our hat, you may or may not see it again, Blizzard Nation. We'll see. So,
and we have a picture of him with us, so we'll show that. So make sure you make a note of that.
Done. See this, Blizzard Nation? This is me taking notes. So Strictly's way less Wild West.
When we're not in the studio, you can do that. So
yes.
Ironic story for him. So we get him up there and we're talking to him because it seems to be taking forever to get some kind of a timeout. And we're like, so are you a season ticket holder? No. Well, how did you get your tickets? Well, actually, I was standing in line to get a ticket and someone gave me one of their flex tickets or for his friends or whatever. I don't remember what he was saying about it.
No, you nailed it. He was literally waiting to buy a ticket and someone did pay it forward at a drive-through routine and hooked them up with flex vouchers. So what a great story and great night. Yeah. 20 plus years ago he went. So he hasn't been to Disney in a while. And him and his wife, I don't think I shared this with you, Kathy, him and his wife, when he said he was going to the game, were like, wouldn't that be cool? And they won. So very cool.
Very cool.
I've done plenty of things that have stressed me out in our time. And you know that better than most. That one really stressed me out, right? Like you're like, boy, I hope it doesn't land on an employee, or I hope it's not anybody with the last name Hobson and Trinkler, and you load them all in, you eliminate the doubles, you hit spin the wheel, and then you got to find out where he's sitting and make sure he's there. And then you got to lie to him to get him at the top of the section. So,
and he's just standing up there like, okay. And I'm like, so are you, are you from here? Do you come to games?
But hadn't been to a game in about 7 years. So just real cool thing.
Yeah, he said it had been a while. So, it was cool. And he was there with a bunch of buddies.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe he was there with his family, so we'd bring the
Yeah.
No, he's there with his buddies. So all good.
Awesome.
All right. I think we have something from the game before that we have not talked about. And actually, he's been in the news.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, which then made you in the news because your photo is in the magazine as well with him. So why don't you talk about that?
A couple times to me lately, and that's not an arrogant statement. I got tagged in the Aurora, ironically the same game. I got tagged from the book drive people thanking me, and all of my friends that I graduated high school with who work for Aurora, who I haven't connected in years, were liking and commenting. So it's cool to get to work and make a difference in the community I grew up in, I guess is the neat way to say that, because there are people I haven't connected with since I graduated who were tagged in that post. So that was really neat. But it was Bentley. Bentley from 23's Cleats is going to get too big for you and I at some point here. I think he was really bummed out though, because the event he was at where he was awarding scholarships was on Star Wars night. And I
I know.
politely pinged Dad and said, "Don't do that again. You need to be at our games." He watches this, so he knows.
Well, and I don't think
Gotta
they
take
had
a
any
venue and a
control.
venue's available. So yep.
Yeah. But we missed him at obviously we missed him at the Star Wars night, but he was going to a pretty cool thing.
Yes.
And
Laces for life.
recognizing,
Yep.
yes, and it was sold out the last
Yep.
I heard. They did sell the event out, so good for him. The
I
day
did
that
joke
he
with Jim that he should just host it at our game next time, and I think he chuckled. He's like, "Oh yeah, good idea." But yes,
um did did we have a count of how much he raised when he had it in the lobby along with the book drive for kids night?
I gotta get that, and maybe we can drop it in the notes of the episode here. So he responds really quick. So
Yeah, I actually had someone on Star Wars night say, "Hey, how did Bentley do at the drive?" And I'm like, "Oh, good question. We probably should have covered that on Strictly."
yeah, there was an arcade, lasers, diabetes awareness, and those two drives in the lobby. So saying I remember any of that game would be a lie. So
Yeah, we had a lot going on. Both of those games were just plain old crazy. So just want to give another shout out to Bentley. I don't know if we have the cover of the magazine. I think you could find that
yeah,
on
we can
social
grab
media.
that. Yep, yep.
And just put it out there as another shout out for this kid. Um, it is, I'm going to give him another plug because I think it is amazing. There are very few individuals that I meet his age that I think, wow, this kid's got it together. Now, I know when you're, you know, just 12, 13, 11, 10, I mean, he started this a while ago. A lot of it is the influence of your parents. So you always want to give a shout out to the parents for teaching him to have empathy, for teaching him to have that giving spirit and giving nature. But at some point, it does become the individual and the brand that he's created and what he's put his heart and soul into speak of his character. So kudos to his parents, but definitely a shout out to him. I look for him to do some great things, both in compassion for others and then just general in sports. I think he's going to be a really cool, he is a cool human being, and he's going to be an even cooler adult when he
Yeah,
starts
and I think
adulting.
as we always peel back layers in Strictly Business, layers have onions like ogres. Yeah.
Are we on Shrek now?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, what?
yeah, before we what's coming next, and we have a cool segment coming up. I hope you and Larry are, I mean, like Blizzard Nation who watches this, Kathy occasionally is like, man, we need more money in the coffers because Blizzard football is expensive, right?
We do.
Um, and I know that better than most because I love the people I work for. But I hope you guys look back when and if this thing ever runs a course and what you just said applies to you too, right? Like, I think people would throw up watching this episode if they found out what you actually have poured into this thing and time and resources, but continuing to give people like Bentley a platform and Ribbon of Hope on Star Wars night and um, trusting me to do things like that and meet people like that and connect our story does not come without a price. And I hope whatever the eternal scorecard is cheesy, but like I hope you guys look at that stuff because I appreciate it even when I'm having dang it crappy days here. That we get to do a really good thing. Like this thing sucked when you got your hands on it and didn't make a difference and it was really just football. And that's okay to be a sports team and provide another sports team in town that people can view. But like this thing has really turned a corner when I look at whatever 2,000 lightsabers lit up pink on Star Wars night, which was way more than Star Wars, or we throw the kitchen sink at things and there's always causes involved with military night right around the corner or the life-saving drive coming on the backyard night. Like it is cool, right? And I do my best so my friends get to keep their money, but I also we've done some really good things in this community on a way tangent for you. And I hope what you just said about Bentley, sometimes when you look at the checkbook, I hope that one weighs on you in a good way too, because if it wasn't you guys, Kathy, this thing would be done. Like, and I share that with partners all the time. Had it not been you guys dumb enough or smart enough to say yes to purchasing the team 13 years ago as we approach 25 seasons next season, you guys are pretty incredible humans. So,
well, I appreciate that, Ryan. And, we absolutely wouldn't continue to do it if we didn't see what it does for the community. I mean, clearly that is something that pulls on the heartstrings, pulls on the purpose behind it, that it's not about just football. It's about giving these guys the opportunity. And, some teams are more, I don't want to say this without hurting anybody's feelings, but some of our teams are more well-deserved to have what's coming versus others. And this one in particular, this season, has been stellar. I mean, they really know how to give back to the community. They know how to do what needs to be done. But I didn't realize the impact, and I shouldn't say realize is a bad word, but I had someone sitting next to me, a really good friend of mine. She knows who she is, at kids' night. It was actually kids' night. And she had been with me for a couple of games by then. And she's looking out at the field, and she turned back and looked at me and said, "You built this. You built this. This is something to be proud of." And I was like, really? Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it was just really cool to have somebody recognize that hasn't been a part of what we've done, and see her see that. It really got to me. So kudos to Bentley, and kudos to our winner.
Yeah.
That was what it was about. So
yes. Well, what's next is we are on a bye week as we are filming this. We are back home for Dairy Night, which we will unpack next week's episode.
Should we talk about the game at all? I know we
yeah.
leave that for cold front, but we did win a game, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think in home games, and that's no secret to anybody that's ever watched this. So
yeah. Well, there is one thing, because you brought it up. You brought up ogres, which made me think of Shrek.
Sure.
Which there is a clip, which we shared on social media, of Corey smiling like there's no tomorrow because Jaime had just kissed him, and he's like, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, he sounds like Eddie Murphy. So I think we need to play that clip here.
Hey guys, we're still celebrating with the guys over here, but Eddie was sweating a little bit too.
Here you go. Hey, say that again. Good job. I can't believe Jaime just gave me a kiss. I feel special. All right, what was your question?
Coach.
Nice.
So that people can hear that, because he sounds just like the donkey on Shrek. So he's like, I know what to do. How did that kiss me? It's just, it was fantastic. So at any rate, we did win the game, but not like it was a slam dunk. It was very, very messy, and guys know that it was messy, but our defense showed up. I mean, showed up. So all good stuff there.
Yeah. I think it's I watched the stat line because I was not in town at the view party or even watching. Just I think when you can overcome that many turnovers, it actually proves what a good team you are, even though you had the turnovers. Because I mean, when you're facing that, you should lose the game statistically. So
well, and that's just it. And it also proves that you can have a great quarterback, but mistakes can happen, off nights happen. And as a team, if you can rally around each other, that is what matters. And that's what makes good teams great. We have, I guess let's talk about our breaking news.
Yeah, because I think your episode of Cold Front will come from the place. Yes. So we're going to be joined by
somebody very special.
Yeah, big personality. Really important to what has become a really cool moving forward for the IFL and broadcast land, and currently, I believe, out at said mall enjoying said games.
Yes.
So should we kick to that?
Oh, nice. Yes, let's kick off our breaking news.
All right, Blizzard Nation and IFL fans, we have a very special report and a very special guest. And I will let my cohort and counterpart, Kathy, provide the introduction.
Yeah, we were calling it we're going to call it the Stover Special Report. So I don't think he needs much of an introduction.
No.
But we have Brent Stover, who's with us, who has been integral to what has been happening with the IFL. Now, Brent is a face that a lot of people know. He's a voice that a lot of people know from various spots that he's going to talk about, we're hoping, but has been with the IFL really since our championship game that the Blizzard played in last season in Tucson. So without any further ado, here's Mr. Brent Stover. Let's hear the applause. Wow.
They're going crazy. They're going crazy. What an introduction. What a welcome. What a time to be alive in the IFL. And Kathy, what you guys do there in Green Bay is a big reason why this is happening. The IFL Cup and this 2026 season and the steps forward and what Jared Widman and Todd Tryon and that whole group are doing here. And so I feel indebted already to you guys and your ownership group and you and Larry and all the owners in the league and the fact that we are taking this huge step forward. And this IFL Cup, obviously everything's kind of been pointing to this week. And I thought yesterday was truly one of the coolest things I've gotten to be a part of. So I'm on a high this morning, definitely, even though I didn't sleep a lot.
Well, it looked great. I watched both games. Both games ended up being a no contest type situation. The second one seemed like it was going to be quite the feat for both teams. But really by halftime, we saw, and Riggs talked about it a lot, Orlando lost some steam, and then it just became kind of reminded me of the Riggs back in the day kind of game where Riggs had a way of the Sioux Falls Storm, no matter where they were at first quarter or second quarter, they kept moving ahead. It didn't matter what was happening with the other team. He talked about chirping a lot last night. Same kind of thing. We'll let you know how it goes by the end of the game. And there was a time, and I'll just say this about Riggs. There was a time when he was in our arena and we won. It was the first time we had beat Sioux Falls Storm. And we were all so excited, and Corey's running around the field, and Riggs was like, "You think they just won the Super Bowl?" I'm like, "We just beat you." So it was great. Good times.
That's awesome.
Let's talk about the IFL just a little bit and your involvement. So you mentioned two big names that are near and dear to us in Green Bay. The first is Todd Tryon. We've known Todd for a very long time, have embraced him as our commissioner. I knew him as an owner. I never knew him as a player, but knew him as an owner. And he's really come a long way since being commissioner and has helped push the rest of us owners in a direction to grow the league. And if ever there was a time to grow, it's now. After COVID, we all realized we got to do something different. If this is going to truly be a league that others look up to rather than down on, we got to do something different. And Jared is the other name. And when Jared came on board, you know what Jared's like. He's a salesman. I mean, and a lot of us were like, whoa, dude, take a step back. But we soon realized we can't take a step back. We have to keep pushing forward, and we have to keep moving and getting the momentum going. So with that being said, they brought you in.
Yeah.
And you helped to give a voice to what it was that we were trying to do. And between the three of you, we really have a lot of thanks to give, because you have helped to kind of blossom where we go with Yahoo Sports, with Overnight. All of the things that you've been working on have been integral to what we're doing. And because this is a behind the scenes show, I want to hit you up with some questions around behind the scenes.
Okay.
This is not a kudos kind of job for you. This is a very thankless job on some days, I'm sure. But you're the guy that's in charge of all these personalities. Maybe not Babchick, but because nobody's in charge of him. He's his own drummer. He's got his own little thing going on. But you have helped to shape who the voices are at the various games. Tell us a little bit about what goes into finding those personalities and how you hone who does what games and, where these personalities came from, what you were looking for.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I'm going to try to boil it down a little bit because I think I could go on and name every name because I am so proud of the talent that we've put together. Jared obviously spearheaded it. I've been his assistant throughout, kind of, and I've got that title of director of broadcasting, and I take it very seriously. Truth be told, he has spearheaded it, but I've been the guy that has taken all of his calls and his texts, and he has allowed me, given me a lot of leeway to kind of pick my guys. He said, "Who do you want?" After he picked me, and the first two guys I said is Ari Wolf and Sed Bonner. Both of them have been around the game forever. Sed's a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks that we've ever seen in the sport of indoor football. Obviously, Arizona Rattlers legend. Ari's been doing it for 25 years. So the first two calls I made are Ari and Sed because I've done games with them for many years, and I trusted them, and I knew how seriously they would take this league and the indoor game. Then we went after guys like, when we tried to regionalize it as much as we could, got a guy like Alex Cohen in the Midwest in Chicago who does the Chicago Cubs on television. Like a guy with a resume like that, Dave Ryan down in Florida. I mean, I could go on and on. There's Steve Quiz, guys that have also been involved. He was doing those San Diego games, Steve was. And so he was a no-brainer. I mean, you look at his resume and his ability to call games. That just kind of gives you an indication of some of the play-by-play. What I was looking for is on play-by-play particularly is we wanted young up-and-comers that we thought had a lot of talent and maybe hadn't gotten a big opportunity yet. And we wanted veteran guys that we knew that would absolutely take it seriously. And from the analyst standpoint, we wanted guys like Sed Bonner, Lincoln Kennedy, Eric Coleman, guys that have played at the highest level, whether it be in the indoor game or the NFL as well. And guys with some name recognition that were good on television. And with sideline, Ari does a lot of sideline, but we found a lot of young and up-and-coming women that we felt very strongly about and that wanted to get a big opportunity doing sideline reporting. These jobs are tough to find. And I think that the biggest thing we did with the sideline role is went out and found people that we said, all right, who do we like here? We looked at countless tapes, did interviews, and just found young people that we could just sense were hungry and wanted the opportunity, and not just to do this for a season and move on, but to actually sink their teeth into this league as well. And because this league falls in the perfect time, you can do this plus have other opportunities. Right. So that's kind of like, that was kind of where we were at. And then we ended up, obviously like Sandy Charles has been doing it for a long time. We got her on the side. That's huge that we can have her, out in the Southwest. I don't know. I'm really pleased with the group that we put together. And I don't know that there was a rhyme or reason on exactly every decision.
Oh, sure there was. It was planned.
It was planned. That gives you a little window into our world,
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the Cup. So the Cup was something that got dreamed up as, and when Todd told the EC, he actually said to me, "Now, Kathy, sit back. I know it's gimmicky. I know it's gimmicky, but we're talking about American Dream." And I wasn't on camera, but I rolled my eyes like, "Oh man, what are you doing?" So let's talk a little bit about how that got shaped. There were two teams that had to give up home games. So they gave up home games to go there, and then the other teams were traveling. So, they had a game last night, or two games yesterday, and now they're going to play that losers bracket and then the winners bracket coming up on Sunday. Now, all games count. They all count towards their record. I know that on our last Blizzness, and I have to do a retract because I had Curtis Riggs on, and he's like, "Yeah, one of those games that, that second game doesn't really count." And I'm like, "Sure, okay." And I'm not going to tell Riggs he was wrong, but he was wrong. They all count, and they all go towards the standings. And I think this game that's coming up on Sunday, is considered an in-conference game, and it could have been out of conference if Orlando had won. But now we got two teams that battled it out, had probably the most notoriety after the game this season. But now they're going to battle it out again and duke it out again. And that absolutely will become a factor in the standings later on in the season. There's no question that game's going to matter. So the IFL Cup itself was a great experiment. I think it's something that will perpetuate. But give us your take on the opportunity that gave us for eyeballs on the game.
Well, I think it's huge. I met Jared actually at American Dream 2 years ago when we were doing it. We had done this one other time with a league that won't be mentioned, but so that's where it starts, because I met him and we hit it off immediately. And he was like, whatever I'm doing in the indoor game going forward, I want you to be part of it. I don't know. His wife was there. So that's kind of where it started. That's where I met him, was an American Dream. So we were kind of reminiscing last night. I guess my take on the IFL Cup is I want to do it as long as we possibly can. I thought yesterday was a resounding success. I think the crowd got better in the evening as well. I think Monday afternoon can be a little bit challenging, but you still have people kind of just milling around. And I love that it goes kind of straight up, kind of like the old Roman Coliseum, if you really use your imagination, with the fans kind of just really straight up looking down on you. And by last night, it was a pretty dang good atmosphere. And I think next Sunday night is going to be even better. So I would love this to just be the start of something really cool. There are some challenges, but to be honest, most of the challenges, I think, was stuff leading up to it. Yesterday, I thought it got pulled off nearly as good as we ever could have anticipated. And so, he came to me with the idea, and I was like, absolutely. I love this type of stuff. And I live in New York City, so it was an easy little trip over there. I love the fact that you're at a venue like no other place in the world, with the greatest indoor water slide park, I think, in North America. And you got the Ferris wheel right above the open, the glass ceiling to the actual game. You're looking up at that big Ferris wheel. You got roller coasters. You got a ski slope. You can surf there. So I love anything that, even if it seems a little gimmicky, the fact that you can be in the middle of a mall and have turf right there on what's normally an ice skating rink and be playing a professional football game, that type of thing is right up my alley.
Yeah, it looked well. You guys pulled it off very, very well. Tell us a little bit about, so you like football, but football's not the only sport that you've done, correct? There's been other sports.
Yeah. So the main thing,
football. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of. I'm doing some NASCAR this summer, actually. Believe it or not, some the ARCA series and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. I'm doing about 14 races. But yeah, my normal gig with CBS Sports is being in studio. And the big thing is college football studio shows, and then college basketball. A lot of college basketball. We go to the Final Four every year, and it worked out perfectly because on the Sunday night of the Final Four, I was able to call my first IFL game of the season there out with the Fisher's Freight. So, yeah, those are my two main things. Done some NFL stuff, but a lot of football, a lot of college hoops, some NASCAR. I've done MMA fighting, boxing. To be honest, I've done a little bit of everything at this point. So, but I've loved the indoor game since I was a kid. I remember in the basement, I had a huge room, and I'd throw the football around my bedroom. And, I'm not the only kid that thought indoor football was cool because of the tight space, and you could kind of feel like you were doing it at home as well. But I've wanted a role like this forever. And the fact that it's come around in 2026, all these years later, I couldn't be happier. And it's like the perfect, for me, it fits perfectly into my schedule, quite frankly, for the summer. And, I start up with college football literally a week or two after the IFL National Championship game. So it really does work out nicely.
Yeah. And for people that don't know you and haven't, now your voice is getting a little more prevalent within the league. So people now know that that's you that's calling a game. But I mean, this is obviously this is what you do for a living. This is not just a pastime. You're not in and out. This is what you do. The broadcast life is not an easy life. Joey Bonadonna, who is part of our team here in Green Bay, he just graduated, and he's embarking on the thing that you've been doing for a long time. And so he's done kind of the same thing as he's gone through school, as he's called all different types of sports. He obviously loves the Blizzard. We have a great story to tell around Joey, but if you have other broadcasters that are out there, what's your advice to them to get into this world if they really want to do it? Everybody loves football and thinks they'll be on the NFL, Sunday night show. But what advice do you have for these kids?
Be willing and able to call any event. And even if someone asks you to call an event and you have no idea, and I don't know if you're going to like this as a business owner and the owner of a team, but tell them you can do it. And then in between, figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. I'm right there for you. Ryan and I do that all the time, don't we, Ryan? We'll be like, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. And then we'll be like, how the heck are we going to do that?
Good. So many great theme nights at the Resch come from, hey, can we fire lasers in here? Or can we repel the game ball in? Can we have Fitz throw it from the deck? And if he hits somebody, are we in trouble? Yeah, like all of those are because we're going to get a yes, and then we'll figure it out. So
figure it out later. That was cool, by the way. Him launching the ball kind of is the opening.
Yeah, the ref drastically misjudged Fitz's arm, but yeah.
I think he might have too. I don't think he thought he had that much under the hood, but he certainly does.
Well, and we told him when he was doing that, just don't do it too many times because we don't want to ruin it for the game. So he did a practice shot, and then he did the actual shot, and the actual shot went further than the practice shot. So
yeah, back to your question. I think the big thing is be willing and ready to do anything. And you have to have a tape. I mean, you could know all the sports in the world and be able to talk to your buddies comfortably, but you got to have tape. And there's never been a better opportunity than the era we are in right now with iPhones to where you can set it up and practice being on the air. I mean, I used to record into my cassette player. I'm dating myself, but I turned the volume down on the TV and call games right off the TV, which is interesting because since COVID, there's been a lot of that in broadcasting anyway, where you're just calling it off the monitor. So I kind of feel like I was on the front end of that when I was, about 40 years ago. So, but, you got to just practice at it. And there's never been a better time to put yourself on camera and practice getting comfortable and building, some sort of a tape. And Joey on his own dime came out and was with me all day and night yesterday, which was awesome. And he was very helpful. And he kind of wanted to shadow me. And at the start of the day, I was like, hey, man, by the way, you're already doing awesome. So let this be something where I'm not saying, hey, do it my way. You got to follow everything I do. I said, ask me any questions or anything I can help you with. But trust me, you're going to watch me for 6 hours, call 2 games. There's going to be things where in your head, you're like, oh, well, I would have done it different. And I said, that's cool. Like, trust me, this is a subjective business. I said, so anything I can do to help you, but be your own person. You don't need to copy anybody's style. You don't need to do it the way. I mean, I still scribble out with markers my game boards. And he was showing me what he does, and he does the advance, on the computer, like the way you probably should do it. So that's just an example of you still got to be your own person doing it. And so I'm glad you brought him up because he's a good example. Because also you got to be aggressive. He's at a young age said, all right, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to knock down doors. I'm going to ask Kathy Trinkler for a job. I'm going to not be – because someone like you, the worst you can say is no. And I found the older I get, people actually want to say yes. People actually want to help you out, and now that I'm in the position I'm in, I feel it. Like I want to help. I want to say yes to people, So that's another thing to always keep in mind. Don't be afraid to ask. And if they say no, cool. Try somebody else or try it again a couple years later.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the individualism of every broadcaster is very true. There's style, there's different things that your personality brings to calling a game or being an announcer. And with that being said, I want to talk about Babchick a little bit because he's definitely different. I get the notoriety that comes with him, and there's a serious connection, no pun intended, around he brings in a different clientele, and he kind of brings that haphazard stance to things, when he's down on the sidelines. And I commented earlier, it's probably a good thing that sometimes his mic doesn't always work. I don't think you guys are doing that on purpose. I think it's just you can see him talking into the mic, he's saying something. But But tell us what it's like to work with him, because he's kind of a loose cannon. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Big time loose cannon. Now, I've only had the opportunity a couple of times so far, and I was on his show this morning on Mad Dog, and he's a loose cannon on that as well. Man, he's a blast. It's a lot of fun. It's something different. I said last night or this morning that I've been doing this business. I've been in it for 25 years, and we went in some directions yesterday that I've never gone in. We're talking about massages. We're talking about the pretzels. Now, part of it was the venue. We were in a shopping mall, but
and Victoria's Secret. I mean, he went to Victoria's Secret, and yeah.
Yeah, I did not know what to do with that. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay. And to be honest, at some point throughout the day, a couple points, Kathy, you actually crossed my mind, and Jared Widman crossed my mind, and Todd crossed, and I'm thinking, okay, what are they thinking at home right now, and what do I do in this second of live TV? And my mom and dad are watching, by the way. So yeah, Kathy, you'll be happy to know it did. You were on one of my shoulders, saying, "All right, let's kind of move off of this."
Yeah, so, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah,
let's move on. But he's fun, and it's I've never gotten huge into the gambling aspect, but I'm a realist, and we're sitting there with the line at the bottom and the over under, and that's part of the deal now, and that's part of how you bring, I think, fans in and viewers. People want to gamble on this stuff, so I kind of enjoyed him with the over under, and are we going to get there? So. I'm totally I'm in on it. Like, it's fun, and he's bringing his own sponsor as well. So, like, as you know, and I've gotten involved with racing, and it's in a lot of cases, it's if you bring money to the table, if you bring sponsorship to the table, let's give you an opportunity to be on air. So.
And you have to be ready. You have to be ready with your own individualism on how you re-steer a conversation, or. And we talked to Riggs about that on our last episode around you have to be reactionary to who's sitting next to you or who's down on the sideline. You got to be ready for either who they're interviewing and what they said or their questions or what have you. So kudos to you guys for bringing him in a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe someday he'll have me on his show. That would be interesting. I might roll my eyes a few times and close my eyes and wish I was elsewhere. I don't know. We'll see.
I would love it, Kathy, and I would love it. By the way, I'm glad you mentioned. I mentioned all those names earlier, and of course, I left Curtis Riggs out, the Hall of Famer, 11-time IFL national champ head coach, and the guy I've been working with. We are so lucky to have him. He's one of the best analysts I've ever worked with. So he's another guy where he was a foregone conclusion when I came in with obviously he's part of this league and he's part of the fabric of it. So. I'm so glad, and I'm sorry I forgot to mention him earlier. So
no, he's a great analyst, and I love him. Like even last night, how he was doing what he was doing from a coach perspective, because you have players that have played in the game, so you have their perspective. But having a former coach who was really good at the game, played it, but also was a stellar coach and really set the tone for a lot of our teams. There was no parity in the league when he was with the Storm. They were it. And then Arizona came in and they were it. And it was, like those two battling it out every year. Nebraska Danger were someone to contend with when we first joined, which is where Mike was originally. But now the parity that's in the league, all of us kind of took a lesson from Riggs and applied it to how we do what we do and how we structure what we have. So I think it's really cool to have him as part of the broadcast and as an analyst.
I agree.
You agree, Ryan?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. He's outstanding. Yep.
I would say we're going to do the 3-man booth for the championship game.
I love that.
With him and Sed. I mean, I couldn't ask for better. And
I don't know that they'll always agree, and that's okay. And that's probably a good thing. Different perspectives.
Okay. And by the way, I've got a game coming up with Danny Cannell, the former New York Giants and Florida State quarterback who played in the indoor game years ago. People forget he had one season with the team here in New York. So, he's just another guy. But, yeah, I try to pick and learn from all these analysts that I work with. And especially there's intricacies in the indoor game that I don't care how much football you've watched, there's going to be things that happen where you got to lean on that analyst. And I find myself, especially with Sed and especially with Curtis Riggs, really leaning because those guys are locked down and know – every rule and every intricacy and every angle that you need to know.
Yeah. I think Kathy froze. It's you and I.
She might have gotten tired of me talking.
We'll see if she reconnects there. I wanted to ask you a quick speed round, though, too, for fans that might catch this before. We got you back, Kathy. Welcome back.
All good.
I wanted to do a speed round before we get you out of here today. Like for fans that might be in the area or might be considering to come on Sunday. Let's do what was your favorite moment from yesterday?
Oh man. Oh man, what a question. Oh, I think favorite moment was, to be honest, it was the national anthem of the first game, and I'm just sitting there thinking, this is a Monday at noon. How blessed am I and this group here to get to be part of this, to be calling a football game, a professional indoor football game, at a shopping mall at noon on a Monday. In the United States of America. Like I was having all those feels during the anthem, and I was just like, this is gonna be one of the best days of my life. And sure enough, it was. And the action. Oh, okay. And then favorite moment on field was Puka Williams with that kickoff return touchdown during the night game. And then he went straight into the smoothie shop, hopped the wall, got himself a smoothie, made a couple of friends, and came back out to the field. So there you go. Those are my two. Those are kind of the start of the day and towards the end of the night.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Weirdest moment from yesterday.
That might have been it. The little dust up at the end of the first game, where we kind of had a little bit of a fisticuffs, and then Jared Widman, our president, who is somehow everywhere at all times, like yelling. Yet I just remember him pointing the finger at one of the New Mexico players. Get to your locker room. I mean, he was out there breaking it all up, and I'm like, that is perfect, Jared to a T right there. So pretty awesome.
All right. And the next one, and I guess it might be that one, but at any point during setup, so behind the scenes, any oh crap moments that you're like,
can we even talk about that?
Yeah.
What's that?
The crap moment. Can you talk about that? Like during setup, or you're like, boy, I wonder if we're gonna kick off. Like, was there I mean, again, our friends Alice and Eric, Jared, and Todd did an incredible job. But like one of the cool things we learned about Strictly when we moved through COVID was the ability to unpack behind the scenes in a sport that's designed to be so close to people. So was there, sitting in the chair yesterday, either before the ball kicked or at any point during your setup, you're like, are we going to do this?
Like, is this really going to happen? I'll tell you, one was right after that anthem that I just told you. About 5 minutes later, we kind of sat down to call the game. And it was a hot day here in New York, and that sun is coming through. The roof obviously is glass over the field. And right where we were sitting, like right at kickoff, right after my big, moment of the national anthem, that sun just beats down right at kickoff, and I'm like, oh boy, this might be a long 3 hours. And it was pretty hot right in the exact spot where we were. So that was kind of one. I was like, oh boy, I better dig in and be drinking water for the next couple hours.
That's awesome. And then what would you tell either fans as the IFL looks to continue this venture, or anybody who might be considering watching Strictly, or as an IFL fan, Blizzard fan, who is already planning on looking at if Sunday is a game they want to attend? What would you tell a fan that's maybe on the fence, or anybody in the area just cruising around the mall who might be looking to shop that day and wonder what's going on?
Our audience is literally worldwide.
Yes.
2 of our 6 people live in New York. So,
well, if you've got kids, it's perfect. It literally is perfect. Go ride a roller coaster and then bring them by the game. And even if they're young and they get a little bit restless, you don't have to stay for the whole game or both games. But just seeing professional football, walking around, and you walk from a shop and then all of a sudden you turn a corner and there's a professional football game with lots of implications going on. Like, I think it's perfect for whether it's families, whether you an older couple, or whether you're just high school kids looking to, getting out of school, in the holiday weekend. I think it's the perfect confluence of being able to be a sports fan, but you can be a pretty casual football fan. And maybe you don't know anything about the IFL, but it's an awesome opportunity to go in and watch hard-hitting, fast-paced professional football while having all these other millions of things at your disposal as well, in terms of just having fun on a holiday weekend.
I love it. I think it's going to be fantastic. Well, Brian, did you have anything else for Brett?
No,
he's probably got 6 other shows he's got to be on this morning.
I just sent him to the gauntlet while we were waiting for you to reconnect. Kathy just said it. They're so appreciative of you taking time, both with other commitments probably, and your dedication to the IFL. Man, when we started this show 211 episodes ago with strictly Blizzness, because the season got taken away from us from COVID, just to stay connected to our fans, did not think we'd get to sit here with a personality like you or Riggs or Todd and become a platform to get news out for the IFL. So truly grateful that you took time today. So thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate what you guys do. And I can't say enough. I mean, none of this is happening, Kathy, without the ownership in Green Bay and all the owners in the league. We know that you guys all had to take a huge step forward and get behind this. And so I wouldn't be sitting here with a dream opportunity that I have without the commitment of you guys. And Ryan, Kathy, it's also podcasts like this that just are continuing to make the thing go. So appreciate what you guys do and appreciate you having me as a guest. It was an honor today.
And then you have to think of a sign off for the Stover special report. What is it?
Oh boy, do I get a minute to think? Oh boy,
yeah.
Put me on the
you got
spot.
a minute.
You're good.
So I'll intro it. So
Okay.
Thank you again for spending time with us on this Stover special report.
Okay, and then I have to have a tagline for it.
What's your tagline?
Oh boy, this has been it's a hot one out. It's a hot one outside today, just like a hot stove. And this has been Stover's special report.
And we're back. That was Sean's cue to edit.
Special report. We should have called it special report, not breaking news.
So special report with Stover. It's got a bunch of S's.
Yes.
So
the
I will
Stover
say,
special report.
Behind the scenes on Strictly, before Kathy now talked to him and I in a couple minutes here, I just wanted to say before we transition to that, one of the unique things, and we got the TV hooked up at the office this week so we could watch the daytime game. What a weird change to kicking the ball, but and that's why I said kick intentionally there. All you have to do is clip that banner and it counts. And was very relevant, although the two games got very out of hand very fast. Was very relevant to just nicking the banner and it counting. So
yeah, I kind of like that idea, really.
Yeah.
Because you could just have the tail end of the ball just graze it, and if the banner moved, it was in.
Yeah.
So and people need to understand, shipping goalposts across the country with nowhere to secure them. I mean, there's a reality there that you have to work with what you got.
Shipping dasher pads even comes with challenges, which we were involved in. So,
but it looks beautiful.
It looked great. So, Eric, that's you. I know how many hours you spent before the event kicked off. So, kudos. So,
yeah, between Allison, Eric, Todd, Jared, I mean, they were putting in 19-hour days, and people don't realize. I mean, you and I realize, Larry and I realize, even when we went to the championship game, Larry and I were laying turf.
Yep.
So there is so much that goes into that looking pretty. So anybody that wanted to complain about, oh, they didn't even have goalposts, you know what? I'll just leave it at that. You don't know what goes into putting these games together. I mean, poor Todd was calling me on Monday saying, Kathy, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know that we have the whole field here. And that's probably, people just don't realize what goes into putting these things together. And you're talking about a venue that normally doesn't have football, that isn't a normal venue for a field,
right.
But they got the field down, the pads that we had sold to them worked great, and it looked good, it looked professional. There were a couple of glitches, and, I just told Todd, we need to make sure, and Mike from Vegas, I was talking to him as well, we just need to make sure that when those two teams play that championship for the cup, that those things are fixed. So the replay, there wasn't replay at first. No clock on the field. They need to have a clock on the field. They found that out like a half hour before the first game. So things of that nature, to be able to do replay, because darn well when Arizona and Vegas play, so when the Rattlers play Vegas on Sunday, you're going to need a replay because you know something is going to go down where we're going to have to look at a replay. So kudos to all those guys. They did a great job. It looked the part. It was fabulous. Yeah. And I enjoyed watching it. I watched both games. It was great.
Awesome. Well, I think that has been an action-packed episode, of which we will finish filming after we hit them with it. So
yeah, we don't even know what we're going to talk to. Well, I mean, yeah, we did. We knew what.
This one's fully scripted.
Just to let Sean know what he's got to put in.
Yeah. Well, should we hit him with it and get ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's hit him with it.
Let's hit him with it.
Go Blizz.
Go Blizz.